Hey again, this is Mike Dana with Jazz Education Abroad, here with part 2 of our talk about major scale fingerings on the guitar. We're going to do a few things in this quick session here. One is look at some patterns that you can use. The second thing is some good ways to get some ear training and music theory benefits out of your practice with these scales. And thirdly, we're going to start looking at going up and down the length of the string using these different scales as well. So first things first, let's talk about a few patterns. Once you've got the major scale fingerings under your fingers, you want to be able to play some more melodic ideas with them. And there are just some really basic patterns that I want to show you. And also there are a ton of books that include a lot of patterns that you can apply to your scale practice. A lot of things on the internet. I'm just going to give you a few things to get you started here and encourage you to explore this on your own. Okay? All right. So the first pattern we're going to do, I'm going to use my G major scale. That's the first one that we learned in the first video. This is the 6-2 version, 6-string, second finger, G major scale. So one of the patterns is simply that you go up 3 notes in the scale, and then you go to the next scale. I started on a G, then I'm going to start on the A, and then I'm going to start on the G. Sorry, let me start over. I'm going to start on the G, the A, the B, the C, the D, and so on. And I'm going to play this in like a triplet rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I come down, I'm going to play down 3 notes, and then I'm going to take the next note, go down 3 notes, and so on. So that looks like this. Okay. The cool thing about patterns is, number one, you're getting more depth in your muscle memory. In other words, you're not always playing the scale straight up and straight down all the time. The second thing is your ear can kind of hear what the pattern's supposed to be. Da 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 da, right? And so by practicing these patterns, you're connecting the sounds that you hear in your mind, in your ear, with what's on the guitar, and that's always a really, really important thing. So that's one that I do. Another one that I do quite a bit is I'll go up 2 notes, but I'll skip one. I'll play G and B, then I'll take the note I skipped, the A, and play A and C. So it's almost like you're making a little zigzaggy line, sort of. G, B, A, C, B, D, C, E, and so on. And when I go down, I can go opposite direction. Okay. And there are so many variations. Whenever I would hear a student say, "Oh, I'm bored playing patterns," I go, "Then you're not trying very hard, because there's so many variations." I might play the G B going up, but play the A C backwards. Play C A, G B, C A. Hear that? B D, E C. So there's another way that you can vary it. Another thing to do is to take the first 3 notes of the scale and then add one more note, which is the note you started with. So in this case, I'm playing G, A, B, G, then A, B, C, A. Hear it? And you can tell da 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 da, da 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 da. And so you can hear where it's supposed to go. So that's another one that's fun to do. Now, right now, I'm doing everything with alternate picking, going strictly down and up and down and up. And that's a really good way to start. Later on in some videos that will be coming down the road later, we'll talk about some other ways of doing picking and some left-hand attacks that'll give you some really nice jazz phrasing. But for right now, those are some ideas for patterns to get you started. And again, you would do those patterns on each of the 5 fingerings in each of the 12 keys. So you're not going to do all of this every single day, because you'd be practicing 24 hours a day, which would be fun if we could do it, but we really can't do that, right? So keep a little notebook near your music stand where you practice, and make note of what you're practicing. And maybe you do a bunch of patterns in the key of G and C, and then the next day you do the next set of keys, maybe F and B flat and E flat. And then maybe the next time you practice, you do A flat and D flat, and so on. Just make sure that you cover all the keys in all the positions. That's really important. The second topic I wanted to cover today has to do with getting more out of your practice time. So if you're going to practice your scales anyway, you might as well get some benefit with ear training and music theory. So rather than just play scales and watch TV at the same time, how about this? What if as you played every note, you said the name of the note? G, A, B, C, D. And I would actually encourage you to say them out loud. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now I'm doing this in the key of G again. We've kind of been doing a lot of our work in the key of G. That's a really good thing to do, because now you know that this note isn't just a certain finger I'm pushing down, that's an A. And that's really, really important. And of course I can do this with I would do this in all the different scale positions of G and all the other keys as well. Okay? When I get tired of doing that, I use the scale degree numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then what comes after 7? Well, 8. But if that's as high as I'm going, I might say 8. But if I'm going to continue on and play more notes above that octave, I would call that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Get it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 8. It's the same letter, right? It's G. And that way, when you go to practice, for example, your arpeggios, which we're not going to cover right now, but we'll get to those later. But let's say a major 7 arpeggio. That's the 1, 3, 5, 7 of the major scale. Well, if I've been practicing with my numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then I know that 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, that's the major 7th arpeggio, in this case, G major 7th. So you see what I mean? If you're going to practice your scales anyway, why not work on knowing the neck a little bit better? And then here's another thing that you can do that'll really help your ear training. As you're saying, or as you're playing the notes, try singing the name of the note that you're playing. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now, unless you have a huge range and you're a great singer, which I don't have, and I'm a terrible singer, so sometimes I'll cheat and I'll just drop down an octave with my voice, even though I'm playing the right octave on the guitar. Let me show you what I mean. G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, because I can't sing that upper octave, right? This way, if I hear a note in my head that's this, bum, I know right where to play it on the guitar. I know that it's a G because I've practiced saying G, and I know that it's the tonic, the 1 or the root of my G scale. So I'm getting all those benefits from practicing my scales. And of course, if I were to do a C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, I can't sing that high, right? But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So feel free to change octaves if you want. If you really want to get good at your sight reading, and let's face it, most guitar players were not very good sight readers, I'll do a thing where I will close my eyes and I will visualize where that note would be on the music staff as I play it. So let's go back to the G major scale one more time. This G, which I could sing as a G or as a 1 of the key, would be written 2 ledger lines and a space below the staff. Whereas this G is the G that's written on the staff, the second space up from the bottom. in the treble clef. So when I close my eyes and I play sometimes, I will actually visualize in my mind the musical staff paper with the notes on it. So now I'm connecting the sound of the note, the name of the note, where it is on the guitar, and what scale degree it is. And so all that gives me a lot of insight when I'm playing, and I feel like I know what I'm doing so much more than when I first started off, when I was just trying to not play wrong notes all the time. Okay, so I really want to encourage you to do that. The last thing for today is this. I want you to pick a key and a string, and let's start simple. Let's take the key of, let's stay with the key of G, okay? I want you to start on the lowest note on each string that you can, and I want you to play all the way up the neck in the key that you picked. So to do this, you have to understand your key signatures. Now let's take the key of G. The key signature for the key of G, 1 sharp, F sharp. So I'm going to start on my open E string, and I'm going to play in the key of G, right? All the way from my lowest note up, fairly high. You don't have to go to the very top fret. You can if you want to. But I'm going to apply the key signature to one single string going up and down the neck, right? So if I start on E, it would be E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And notice that I'm not just using one finger. Sometimes when a beginner picks up a guitar and they're just fooling around, they just kind of do this, or like a kid will do that. But we're not kids, we're guitar players, right? So try to use a good logical fingering pattern. Like, to me, that makes sense. Right? So in the key of G, on the E string, those would be my notes. On the B string, it would be B, C, D, E, F sharp, because of the key I'm in, which is G. Here's my G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then I would come down the exact same way. And I could do that on the G string. I could do it on the D string. And again, sometimes I'll name the names of the notes, or I'll visualize them on the staff, or I'll sing them as I play them, which is a kind of cool thing that we guitar players can do that horn players can't do, right? We can sing and play at the same time. And that's great practice. And again, you want to do this in all 12 keys. Now, there's no 5 fingering positions here because we're not thinking about going across the neck, we're going up and down the neck. But I would do this on all 6 strings in all 12 keys eventually. So just think about that for a minute. If you combine what we did on the first video with what we did on this video, you would know how to play in every key in all these different positions, plus you would know how to work your way up and down the neck on every string in every key. So you could connect every position seamlessly. And that way, if you were playing in the key of G, let's say, I can easily shift up and down a certain string because I've practiced shifting up and down certain strings, right? Okay, so to review, what you want to do is get your hand out from your major scales, make sure that you have the scale fingerings down in position first. You want to pay some attention to your left hand technique, keeping your fingers close down, and your right hand technique. I'm going to recommend alternate picking to you and using the smallest picking motion that you can, right? I don't lock my whole arm and pick like this. I try to make the motion more with my thumb and my index finger, okay? And then today we talked about practicing some scale patterns. We talked about bringing some ear training and visualization, which will really help your sight reading, and naming the notes, the names of the alphabet letters as you play them, and also naming the scale degrees as you play them. So we're trying to get the most advantage to you from your practice time as we can. And then we ended up today with looking at different keys going up and down the neck with one string at a time. So that ought to keep you busy with major scales for a long time. Now, in an upcoming video, we're going to talk about all the modes I'm sure you've heard the names Dorian and Mixolydian and Phrygian and Lydian and all the others. And all of those are related to the major scales. And so if you have your muscle memory together with all these scale fingerings, I think you'll find that, for example, if you can play in C major, playing in D Dorian feels very similar to C major. But we're going to save that topic for another day. All right? Keep practicing, and we'll see you at a JEA Jazz Workshop soon, I hope. All right? Take care, guys. See you later. Bye.